be talking about my third and final plot idea and how I can use it in my trailer and the conventions that I will use for it. The plot. One man, who is building his empire via the dark web, finds himself being traced across the city and his paranoia grows and grows. He isn't willing to trust everyone. He is a lone man who operated over the dark web and uses heists, drugs, weapons and human trafficking to fuel his empire and bribe the cops to pursue him. His anger is one of the deadliest traits, and killing those who oppose him in any situations makes him an unpredictable figure to be around. No one is safe when in his company. His new style of mafia makes him an authoritative man, and he has his inside men to report to him any unrest in his city. His days of ruling are numbered, with a lone detective chasing him down, who will stop at nothing to catch this one man and bring the city back to harmony and see the crime lord inside a dirty jail cell. He will not be bribed, and he will not be defeated when he pursues this one lone criminal who is turning the city into a crime capital of the world. How can I use this idea for my trailer? One thing I've noticed when watching crime films, more specifically Heat, is that using a De Niro versus Pacino style of battle in my trailer can make the viewers want to see who wins the battle, thus will make them want to watch it in the cinema if I was to ever create it. As I want my main villain to be seen as near invincible, this will let me shoot him with a low angle shot to make him look powerful, and then use Pacino style detective with a high angle shot to make him look less powerful but still powerful because he's a detective. I can use a lot of Dutch tilt shot, reverse shots and other camera shots because the battle between criminal and detective will need to be very cinematic to make it a conventional crime film. As there is a huge emphasis on the main villain's power, this will allow me to use dark, slow-paced music which can connote evil and the antagonist's temper. This type of storyline will also allow me to use lots of props like guns, drugs, alcohol, suits. Cinematography is a huge factor of any successful trailer, and the importance of props, costumes and lighting needs to be shown throughout the whole of my trailer, and the plot idea allows me to do this in the best way possible. Two enemies hoping to defeat one another is something that will make my trailer thrive in the crime genre's industry. I can use two contrasting characters with different morals and personalities to really show a clash between the protagonist and antagonist, which will make my trailer appear appealing to crime lovers and action lovers, as I can emphasize action just like Heat has, but still make it a dialogue-filled crime film, which is very conventional, which is so important for a crime trailer. What conventions can I use? I will obviously be able to use dark music to really show what the main villain is like and connote his anger. I could use this in my trailer, but I could also be used as contrapuntal music, which can make my scenes look very dark if I use a gory scene, because the music will not match the scene, because if I use happy and cheery music for a specific section of my trailer, it will make the viewers remember it because it will be a memorable scene, as we all remember the ear-cutting scene in Reservoir Dogs. The audience will still enjoy this scene as the music doesn't match the clip, and if I can use both of these in my trailer, which will both conform to the conventions and also not conform to them as a result, as it has also happened in Reservoir Dogs as I've recently just mentioned, I will definitely be using slow dark music to denote the villain's evil ways, but also connote how the clash between the criminal and detective will end in the protagonist prevailing eventually towards the end of the film. I will also use a lot of props and pay close attention to detail for my characters' costumes, and I feel that this will make my film seem more realistic even though it's purely fiction. Spending a lot of time on cinematography will make my trailer seem more appealing, and as a result will become more popular with other various audiences externally. Props are so important, and because I want to show how the antagonist makes his money, I want to show how he does it, so props like drugs, guns, alcohol will be vital for showing my criminal in the best way possible. I've seen how Breaking Bad and Narcos have used their props to show how the criminals accumulate such large wealth, and going against the typical conventions of a crime film, i.e. using the dark web, will change the conventions, and creating my own ones will only make the viewers wonder if there will be any other future films with the dark web and all other things like that in it, because I think that using a sort of digital mafia empire is something new to the crime genre, something that I thought that I could do ever since I first watched newer crime films, and also thought how I can include my own research into other crimes of the new age and new era into these crime films. And I think that most crime films have really thrived off creating their own conventions. For example, how Taxi Driver created a crime film shot in the view of a vigilante who was psychologically different in Travis Bickle. I could use colour grading for my trailer, as this will emphasise the battle between the antagonist and the protagonist, and this will work extremely well with dark scenes. This will really make my film more appealing due to how it looks, and also how it has used a dark atmosphere and contrast to make it look a very dark and evil scene. even if the scene is shot in midday. I feel that this will only help to add effect, and the connotations and denotations of many props like settings, costumes, and music, along with the colour grading, will make it a very conventional film, which will make my film popular with the crime genre lovers. And also, not conforming to conventions as well as this will make my film a very non-conventional yet still conventional trailer, which will also attract the audience because there'll be something new, i.e. the dark web. And using the colour grading in terms of this, because it'll be a very crime-focused film, colour grading will only help to emphasise the evilness of the main character, which is the villain. Sticking to these conventions will make a film appealing to the general audience of the crime genre. As this isn't psychological like my first idea, it's very basic and has an ordinary plot with a few new conventions that I've added, but I'm sticking to the conventions on purpose, and I will also challenge the conventions and create new ones, just like newer films have done, like Nightcrawler and Focus. The idea is very basic, but it still does a great job, and it is a great plot to use, and I'm seriously considering this for my final film idea. Films like Heat, where they've used basic plots, are still successful as films like Nightcrawler, which have heavily challenged the conventions of the crime genre. I look forward to choosing my final idea for the plot, as I can start to plan what I will be doing for my final trailer thereafter. I really look forward to changing and tweaking the storyline, and hopefully creating a perfect plot for something that is conventional and also creates new conventions and doesn't conform to the conventions that have been laid down by older crime films like The Godfather and Goodfellas. Thank you for watching yet another video. I hope you carry on watching more videos in the next few weeks and months.